Don't know what to make your product about? Let's pick that one apart. But first, please subscribe to the channel so I can keep bringing you this great content. One of the things many beginning vendors ask me is, what should I make a product about? Well, from my perspective, I'm thinking there's so many things you can make a product about, but that doesn't help anybody, does it? Just a blanket statement like that. So let's get really into the nitty gritty. The thing I ask people to think about right off the bat is, what can you talk about for 15 minutes off the top of your head? Now, there are things we do every day. There are skills we have. There are things we picked up in our life. There are job skills we got. There's social contact kind of skills. There's hobbies. There's things we watch. In other words, every single day, there's all this stuff we're involved with. All of this stuff. But we take it for granted because we just don't realize all this stuff because we just do it all the time. So it just seems normal. But what you know, other people will pay you money for. How does that even work? Let's take an example. This is the example I use quite often, so you might have heard this before, but I love this example. So I'm going food shopping. I'm in the supermarket, and I'm a pretty data analytical kind of person. So I read labels and do the math of how many, what's the price per ounce and comparison shop to this one and all that stuff. Kind of boring, actually. But here's the thing. I can look at those labels, especially the nutrition labels, and go, okay, that's the percentage of fat. That's the carbohydrates. That's the sugar. That's the protein. And I know what I'm looking at. Then I'm in the supermarket one day, and I see this family kind of down the aisle, all confused, looking upset, nervous, trying to figure out labels. And it dawned on me, duh, there's a product. And this is what I'm saying to you. The stuff we do for granted that we just think everybody knows is just not the case. So I'm looking down the aisle like, what's the problem here? They can't figure out the simple stuff on a label. Well, apparently not. They could not figure out the stuff on the nutrition label. So there's a product. I'm not kidding here, because something like food shopping, millions of people do it. So there is a big market. Number one, you got to have a big market of people to sell to. So maybe a percentage of people struggle with this kind of stuff. Maybe their doctor told them don't eat so much fat, so they start looking at labels this way, that way, whatever. But there's the information on the labels, and oh my God, it's so confusing. To me, it's perfectly clear. To them, it's all confusing. Product, product, product. I could, if I wanted to, which I'm not in the mood for, but I could, right now, today even, create a product about how to read nutrition labels. Doesn't have to be nutrition advice, doesn't have to be with recipes and how to make smoothies and eat your vegetables and all that stuff. Because I wouldn't do that anyway. I'm not a nutritional specialist. It's not my world. But reading labels is. So I could see a really simple product. Just ask ChatGPT to help you come up with the way it should be structured. It doesn't have to be a big product. Another key point here. That information is right there. It's in a label. That's all they need is how to read the label. Now, you could go in and have some extra information in your product about, what are fats, what are carbohydrates, what are protein, what is protein, what's a sugar content, what are these ingredients, what should I be on the lookout for? But the point is, I'm giving them, here's your roadmap to reading these labels. Simple product, maybe a couple of diagrams, picture of a nutrition label, of course, and some content around that. Ask chat to help you write this thing. And I could just see this being a 10-page PDF, and that's it. Doesn't have to be a fancy thing at all. Doesn't have to be all glamorous and cool and, knock everybody's off their feet with how incredible it is. It's just factual. And this is a great thing also, too, about products. People need the information. All the fancy stuff, very nice, but they need the information. So I would take that product right now, and I would put it on Gumroad, maybe Etsy. Maybe I'd make an Amazon book with it. I don't know about that so much. Put it on a website. I'd go and get a website. This is a really cool idea, too. Watch this. You'll never find a domain name like nutritionlabel.com or nutritioninformation.com, but you could have something like howtoreadanutritionlabel.com. I bet that's available. Go check. I don't know for sure. Maybe I should go pick it up before you do. But howtoreadanutritionlabel.com, because that's a search term people go in the internet and look for. How to read a nutrition label. So if you got howtoreadanutritionlabel.com and you've got a single page website there, that's all you need. Just one page showing your product. Effectively, it's your sales page. Sell that thing for $5. That's it. Because here's the thing. It cost you nothing to make. You didn't buy any supplies. You didn't have to buy any food. Just go in your kitchen and you'll have all the labels you need, more than enough to do your research or just to take some pictures of labels. Done. One PDF. Make it look enticing. You got to do some sales pagey kind of stuff. And $5, and just leave it there. All right. So this isn't going to be a big splash kind of launch thing, but you could just leave it there. And over time, you should start getting some business. How much business? How much would you push something like that? I could see traffic from a place like Pinterest, because I think there's a lot of food interest on Pinterest. It's a big niche there is food. So certainly you could have a free Pinterest account. It doesn't cost anything. The only thing you would be paying for in this whole scenario is the hosting for a website, which can be pretty low as far as costs go. Yeah, I'm wondering, should I not tell you about this product? Maybe I should do this for my own. I might beat you to it. But anyway, the point is, I saw an opportunity watching people struggle with nutrition labels. What can you talk about for 15 minutes off the top of your head? Me personally, I'm a computer programmer. I'm a web developer. I'm a numbers person, a math nerd. I exercise. I go bike riding. I go hiking. I go swimming. The list is endless of what we do. All right. How about on a job? You got trained in some skills, or you picked up some skills for your job. Stuff you go to your job, if you have a job, and you go to your job every day and you do the same thing every day, day after day. Who cares? Guess what? People will pay you for that knowledge. Take what you know, package it up, make some PDFs, make some videos. I'm making a video right now giving you information, right? So you could do the same thing, put that product together. Here's an example for me. So I'm an Microsoft Excel specialist. So certainly I could put a whole bunch of that knowledge. Like, to me, doesn't everybody use a spreadsheet? Well, apparently not. It's not true. A lot of people look at a spreadsheet and go, oh, no, I don't know what the heck to do with this thing. So, and validation. So I know there's other courses out there to teach how to use a spreadsheet. There's a bunch of them, and some of these people make a ton of money. I mean, I'm not talking about little money. I'm talking about way big money. Sometimes I'm jealous. Why didn't I get into that market? Well, there's always tomorrow, right? But for you, back to what can you talk about for 15 minutes? Go through your day, look around, look out the window, look at your neighbors, go shopping, look around the stores. What are people struggling with? What do people seem to just be tripping over, even just a little bit? Because here's another thing I always tell people, or vendors or people trying to get into this, is you only need to be, I call it 2 steps. You only need to be 2 steps ahead of other people. So taking my Excel example again. Now, I am a real leading Excel person. I've written lots of books on it. I'm known around the world for doing Excel. But if I was doing Excel for like a year and that was it, well, I know there's people who are just starting to learn it altogether. So even though after just 1 year of using Excel, I might think I'm no expert at all, but I'm a little bit ahead of people who haven't used it at all. So you could be an authority as long as you can convey that you are a little bit ahead of other people. Now, I wouldn't say I'm a little bit ahead of you, not that, but I'm trying to give you a feeling of confidence that if you know some things about a subject, you're ahead of people who know nothing about the subject, right? Okay, another thing you can do, which I've used many times to create products, is I get interested in something. I see a fad, I see a new kind of technology, I see a new interest. I mean, I've done a lot in the publishing world, so I see a new type of publishing niche. I like graphic arts. By the way, here's a perfect example. I'm no artist, right? But I have actually put out products about doing graphics and art. because I learned something. And that's my point here. So I might see something I like. For example, I like the kind of coloring pages that are geometrical shapes and they look 3D and all that. Okay, it doesn't sound too exciting, but I wasn't sure how to make them. So I went and watched YouTube videos. You're watching me on YouTube right now, are you? So I went on YouTube and learned a few things about the techniques. I learned about one particular art program that's really good for it. In other words, I gained my knowledge in a couple of days, and I turned around and created a product. YouTube is a gold mine for you. There's so much free content on here, and you may have the idea that how can you make a product and charge money when all the information is for free? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, but people do. Right? So nearly everything I've done that I make money off of, somebody could get that information elsewhere. They could, because here's the thing, you package it up, you give it a nice spin, you are helping people actually, whatever the subject is, you're helping people, but also you're helping them not have to go digging around for the information. So, for example, my nutrition label idea, I'm sure you can go on YouTube and watch a ton of videos about nutrition labels, but yet I would still make that one-page website and just let it sit there. That would be kind of like passive income. You know, you're not going to get a bunch of sales if you don't advertise it in some way. And I did say Pinterest is probably a good way to advertise that with free traffic. But let it just sit there. So if I get $5 a day, maybe some days I'll get 2 sales, $10 a day. But it's out there, and I don't have to do anything with it. So that's one thing. But you can find some bigger subjects to conquer by watching YouTube videos or finding them on websites or wherever on the internet. Put that together, and you've got a product for that. So there's my point about what to make your product about. It's all around you. You have it all. Okay, you just got to go discover it. All right. So go think about what you do every day. Think about maybe what your family members do every day. Think about your hobbies. Think about, are you into sports? Oh, there's so many products to make about that. Not necessarily teaching people how to play sports, but sports history. I mean, sometimes products don't have to be centered around how to make money. They could fill a need for people just interested in something. So I picked up sports. I don't know much about sports. I like to play. I don't really like to watch. So I don't know anything too much about all the big teams and the players and all that. I hate to admit it, but yeah, I don't. I'd rather go play baseball or football than watch it. But maybe one day I'm like, I want to know. Maybe I should learn some of these teams and the history of this sport and everything. I'm going to go, if a product comes my way while I'm searching, I might be looking at websites and YouTube videos and wherever. And then doing this research, I come across somebody's, compilation of all the great sports heroes of the last 100 years, $17. I'm like, well, that would save me a lot of time because products need to do 2 things, one of 2 things. Maybe they do them both at the same time. I don't think so. But they have to provide people a way to save or to gain. And I'm not getting that quite right. But what I mean is if I got that product about the sports history stuff, it would be saving me time. So my time is valuable, and so is yours. Don't discount your time not being valuable. So I could spend the $17 and not spend hours looking for this information. Now, sports, maybe that wasn't the best example, but certainly something like budgeting, finances, parenting, huge niche. You got kids, you're an expert. Flat out. Well, maybe you don't feel like an expert, but, if you have kids, you've lived through some stuff that new parents haven't done yet. A big product that I used to sell when I was starting out and I was just doing some affiliate marketing was a product about diapers. I think it was called Diapers No More. It wasn't about making money. It was about helping people with a struggling problem. And it wasn't my product. It was something on ClickBank. So I became an affiliate for it. I think I actually did get a website about diapers or something, changing diapers, potty training, whatever it was, potty training them more. I don't remember even the name of the product, but yeah, I sold a bunch. It's a serious need out there. All this parenting stuff is for real. Now, maybe you're not a parent yet. So what have you done in your life? What do you do every day? What can you What are your hobbies? What are you interested in? What are you interested in that you don't know much about? And you need to learn a little bit first, and then you can tell other people about it. Okay, so take everything I've said here, think it through, start looking around, look at what people in your world are struggling with, even at the job. Do people come up to you and say, hey, can you do this thing for me? You're better at it. It's all around us, okay? So that is my point for today's video. Please subscribe so I can give you more of this cool stuff. Thank you for watching.